Can you give me an example of a time the actions of a coworker made your job more difficult, and how did you handle it? This is a challenging behavioral interview question to answer, especially if you're not prepared. But if you go into it with a game plan, it is easy enough to answer. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to do just that. Let's go. Now, as always, when I teach you how to answer an interview question, I wanna start with the why. Why would somebody ask this? Knowing that is really important because it can help you try to figure out how you need to answer this interview question. Now, it's simple. The way someone handles adversity can tell you a lot about them as a person and them as a teammate. So hiring managers, recruiters, and HR professionals are gonna ask you this interview question so you can recall a time you had to handle something challenging, and they can kind of see what you did, how you reacted, and was it positive or negative. Additionally, team building is really important. Having a cohesive team is going to make the department more productive as a whole. But it's hard. It's hard to build good, cohesive, strong teams. This gives you a glimpse into what type of team member they're going to be. Now, I want to start with some of the basics. You have to stay calm. When you're answering this interview question, you're probably going to remember back to a time when one of your coworkers did something incredibly annoying and frustrating. And it's probably really easy to be like, oh my gosh, I worked with Bill. Bill was an idiot. He did this dumb thing. He did it all the time. And it's really easy to get a little bit caught up in the moment and get irritated. You need to stay calm and positive here. If you seem irritated at all when you answer this interview question, that's a bit of a problem. Secondly, you need to use the STAR method. That's situation, task, action, result. What was the situation? What was the task you were responsible for? What was the action you took? And then what was the outcome? What was the result? And when you do this, you're aiming for 45 to 120 seconds. You don't want it to be too short because then there's no way you can give appropriate detail, but you also don't want this to be a 3, 4, 5 minute answer because if you do that, you're going on way too long. Another important thing is this actually has to be an annoyance, right? This can't be something so trivial that it makes it seem like you're dodging the question. It has to be an actual thing that a coworker do that would annoy anybody, and then you have to have a positive response to it. It can't be something like, oh, I had a coworker forget my birthday and I was really sad about it. That's gonna make it seem like you're dodging their question intentionally. Now, most importantly, your response needs to include a positive, team-oriented reaction. Followed by a solution, right? You need to take it in stride. You need to react in a positive way that a good team member would react. And then at the end of it, there needs to be some sort of solution or resolution showing that you were able to deal with whatever the situation was and bring it home in a positive way. Now, I want to give you some examples before we end this video because you're probably thinking, okay, great, Ben, those seem like solid foundational principles, but what are some good examples? So maybe it was a project that needed an all hands on deck approach because one of your coworkers maybe messed something up or forgot about a deadline, and then you had to stop what you were doing to go and assist them. And maybe you had your own task and this made your job more complicated because in the middle of doing your task, you had to help them. This is a good one. Another thing could be that you were working with a coworker on a project and then they made a pretty significant mistake. And this mistake caused you both to double back and slow you down a bit and have to do some rework, which would be frustrating. So you need to talk about that story in a positive way and talk about how you brought about resolution here. That's the key. Now, I would encourage you not to make something up. These are just examples, so look for examples in your past that line up here. I think that's important. If you make it up, what they might do is they'll ask question after question after question, digging in. When someone gives me an example, I like to say, when did this happen? At which employer? How long did it take? What were the lessons you learned? So if you're making something up, that's going to be really challenging for you to have those follow-up answers. So make sure you find something in your past, but use these principles to answer it in the right way. Now, this video is over, but this one isn't. This is a super common interview question. Why are you leaving your current role? It is very difficult to answer, and you're just about gonna get it in every single interview you do for the rest of your life. So by watching this video, you will know how to answer it, and you'll be prepared to absolutely nail it. So go watch that video now.